And we continue at 2:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
Well, Johnny, after feeling snubbed by that Politico convention, Antonio Villaraigosa needed some attention. And so he decided an easy way to get it is to come out tough on crime.
And let's be clear and honest with ourselves.
Boy, he's getting gravelly.
He's starting to sound like Alec Baldwin in 30 Rock.
And let's be clear and honest with ourselves. We have chaos on the streets of
vertical integration.
California. We have chaos in every big city in California.
What? Karen Bass said crime is down.
If you just understood statistics, you would know that crime is in free fall all over.
And the fact is, you have people selling drugs right in front of cops. You have people living in their excrement. We have
except in Sacramento, where they arrested that guy who pooped on the cafe door.
I would love to know how he would phrase that 3 cocktails in.
We have people setting up tents, thinking they have a right to set up tents in front of schools and parks. And we know what neighborhoods they'll be in when they do that. And I do think we can say, hey, hold it. If you refuse treatment and there's a bed for you, if you refuse treatment and there's treatment for you, then you don't have a right to live on the streets.
Maybe you should tell the person that has your old job that.
You notice he's willing to make that statement, but he won't criticize Karen Bass. He won't criticize Barbara Lee. He wouldn't criticize London Breed when she was in San Francisco. They're all buddy-buddy, and they'll be passive-aggressive with one another, but they won't directly call it out.
And that's why Antonio Villaraigosa's campaign is flailing.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, we know there have been movements in the past to split the state of California into multiple states. Most recently, it was the state of Jefferson, where rural counties in Northern California said we have nothing in common with the rest of the state, and it's time for us to do our own thing.
And didn't Randy Economy make us go to that remote where we had to talk about seceding San Bernardino?
They wanted a breakaway, too.
It was a weird one.
However, there is a new proposal that would split California between coastal California and inland California. And the man leading the charge on this is the Republican leader in the state assembly, James Gallagher. James Gallagher represents Paradise, the town that burned down, where PG&E was found criminally responsible for burning that town alive. State of California allowed PG&E to pay the fire victims with company stock, a company that ultimately ended up going bankrupt. Now, these rural communities are being taken out of their current congressional districts, if Gavin Newsom gets his way, and they're being placed in districts where the population centers are in places like Marin County, far away, where those voters have nothing in common with the rural voters. So now James Gallagher says he's been talking to his constituents, and they've had enough with Newsom, they've had enough with Sacramento, and they're ready to move on.
And that's why James Gallagher unveiled a plan to split the state in two. He calls it, and I really don't recommend saying this, a two-state solution. Then he talked to Marla Tellez at Fox 11 about it. Let's give a listen.
California's Supreme Court just cleared the way for a November vote on Governor Newsom's redistricting plan. Republicans tried to block it, saying the rules were rushed, but the court said no. That means voters will decide this fall whether to change the state's congressional maps. Now, the top Republican in the California Assembly is presenting a controversial proposal in response to the state's redistricting plan.
Gavin, let my people go.
Can you imagine what it must be like to be elected in that part of California? Because if you think we hate Gavin Newsom, go to one of those counties where they do nothing but get stomped on by Gavin all the time.
We would like a...
You ever drive up the 5 freeway going through the Central Valley, and you just see signs all over that say bleep Gavin Newsom.
Oh, they hate him at a level that we're not at yet. We're getting there, but we're not there yet.
When you get to those counties where there's more cows than people, the people don't care for Gavin, and I bet the cows don't either.
Nope.
We would like a better way forward, and we can no longer abide a government that gives us no voice.
So today, State Assembly Leader James Gallagher proposed to split the state in two. Here is a detailed look at that.
What are they going to call it? West California and East California?
Well, they did it with Virginia.
He calls it a, quote, two-state solution separating California's bluer coastal counties from its redder inland areas. California Republicans have proposed similar plans in the past. Gallagher's endorsement, though, marks a rare instance a top party official voiced their support for a split. Assembly Minority Leader James Gallagher is with me now live. Good to have you. What a day you've had.
Yeah, it's been kind of a unique day.
Yeah.
Good to be again.
You could say that again. So let's just start with the obvious, right? That the Democrats have a supermajority in this royal blue state. You just said, Gavin, let my people go. Do you really think that they're going to let, you have half the state?
They're not.
No, because Gavin is a guy who wants to accumulate as much power as possible, and anyone who threatens that, he's going to go after with knives.
Well, even regardless of that, you'd need a majority of both houses of the legislature to say yes to this. That's not happening. And you need Congress to say yes to this. That's not happening.
I want to appeal to a sense of fairness. They have proposed to eliminate all of my congressional representation in the North State. They're taking away one of the districts in the Inland Empire. So all of these things deprive us of a real voice in our government. And if that's going to be the case, where we're no longer going to have a voice, we cannot give input into our government, well, we want our own state. And that's what this proposal is about, is saying, look, Inland California, I think especially, has been overlooked. And we think that we could govern ourselves better than, Gavin Newsom and the supermajority have done.
Well, speaking of being able to govern yourself better, I know in terms of land mass, you have a lot more land, but we would have, and I say we because Los Angeles would be in the bluer coastal state. I know no names have been proposed for this, by the way. Could your proposed state even support itself, right? The coastal counties generate a significantly larger portion of tax revenue.
Good question.
Well, yeah, it could. Actually, if you looked at this would be a state of over 10 million people. Be one of the 10th largest.
30 million people live just on the coastal areas. That's wild.
The state of California is so much bigger than any other state in the union. Even areas that we don't regard as being particularly big compared to other states and other portions of the country are humongous. Like I said on yesterday's show, nobody here really regards Long Beach as being a particularly large city. It's the size of Atlanta.
Well, in San Bernardino County, just based on land mass, is the largest county in the country.
If I'm not mistaken, you could take 3 New England states, Rhode Island and, New Hampshire and Vermont, and put them in San Bernardino County and they'd fit.
Be one of the 10th largest state in the nation. It has huge GDP in the Inland Empire, manufacturing, the Central Valley.
You mean all those Amazon fulfillment centers?
Well, a lot of those are on Reno now.
How about that giant Skechers warehouse before the windmill farm?
I drive by that all the time.
The Central Valley, the farmland breadbasket of the world, in the Sacramento suburbs of Placer County. There's a lot of industry, throughout this part of California, but it doesn't get a lot of recognition from Sacramento and from the government that's in power right now. We absolutely could govern ourselves.
You had to say it, didn't you?
At some point, they all do.
I think every politician that's been featured on today's show has said that word.
Well, we've got about 45 minutes left, so there's time for more.
We absolutely could govern ourselves. And I'll bet you this, our gas prices would be a lot lower. So think about that, L.A. County.
Yeah, right.
Someone emailed us today. It was in the low threes in Arizona this morning when they filled up.
Last time I was in New Mexico, which was a month ago, which seems like a long time for me, it was $2.79 in Santa Fe.
And what is it right now in Los Angeles County?
It's low for us in that it's in the mid-4s.
Great.
Well, also in the bluer coastal areas is Orange County. You made a plea to Orange County today as well when you announced this proposal.
Oh, how pissed is Orange County going to be if something like this happens and they're not included?
Oh, and they get stuck in with L.A. and Oakland?
Yeah, I mean, we've got, a lot of the feedback I've gotten is like, hey, please don't exclude us, let us in. And so, look, these lines are not set in stone. And we are going to have a lot of conversations with communities up and down the state about, is this an idea that we should pursue? I think it is. I think it's something that
They're going to draw a line where it's all the inland parts of the state and then this tiny little curve where it gets Huntington Beach and then goes back out.
Well, and then San Diego County is going to go, hey, what the hell? Why not us?
Have you been to San Diego County lately? It's changed.
I guess it's not your father, San Diego.
No.
deserve better representation.
There are certain specific people that you can help blame for that, but we won't mention that on this show.
Nope.
Deserve better representation and a government that's more responsive to our issues, like gas prices, like utility bills, electricity prices have gone through the roof.
Oh, yeah. Well, what are you going to do? Try to split from PG&E? San Francisco's been trying to do that for 100 years.
Trying to leave PG&E is like trying to leave Scientology. Good luck.
This government has done nothing about that. Housing, the lack of affordable housing.
What's the next step for this to even get to that next step?
Well, under the Constitution, you can form a new state. It does require the consent of both houses of the legislature and the state. And the
Good luck selling this one to the prune farmer.
No, and this is part and parcel why we hate them so much. Because you have a supermajority in the state where they have wrecked everything. They seem to be proud of themselves for wrecking everything. There's no embarrassment or shame at all. The only regrets that they have is they didn't wreck it more, and for whatever reason, the people keep electing them.
And the Congress. But for me, I think this really starts with conversations at a local level, counties, cities, communities, talking to them about whether or not they would want to proceed with this. San Bernardino, not...
Hey, YOLO? YOLO. Come with us.
Dino, not too long ago, actually, voted to look into the idea of separating from California. So this is something that...
And, of course, we need that economy of San Bernardino, a city that makes all of its income from raves. It's true.
This is something that has, been very recently in the news. It's something that communities are talking about, and we want to take that conversation further.
All right. There are so many.
The concept of states on the West Coast is so different from the East Coast. When you think about it, take the state of Delaware, for example. Delaware is essentially just a conglomeration of suburbs of Philadelphia. That's it. New Hampshire is a suburb of Boston. Maine is where people in Massachusetts vacation. Those states are tiny. Even states that you think about and you assume are big aren't. New Jersey is small. They're all small up there. The states on the West Coast are humongous.
The whole system doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when you look at it. Because the 40 million people in this state get the same senatorial representation as the 10 people that live in Delaware.
Well, if you gave those lunatics more seats in the Senate, guess what they do to the entire country?
All right. I mean, there are so many other ways that we could go with this conversation. I wish we had more time, but we've run out of time. Assembly Minority Leader James Gallagher, will have to have you back as you have those conversations on the more local level, as you said. Thanks so much for being with me tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, he delivered.
I'm just trying to get everyone to realize that they're doing it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a tick that no one realizes that they're doing until someone points it out for them.
Okay, let's hear that again, but get the assist from Shang.
All righty. Let's get this going here.
More local level, as you said. Thanks so much for being with me tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Shangy.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, with the end of the show quickly approaching, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
Or you could watch General Hospital.
Or you could sex with one of the AI versions of the stars on the computer.
That's happening somewhere to somebody right now. Search for The John Phillips Show if you'd rather do that. Anywhere you get your podcast, the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. Do a Google on the YouTube. Get the KABC app. Get the KSFO app. You can listen to all of our podcasts instead of listening to Pamela Price's podcast.
She called me a crime boss.
You know, with AI, it doesn't even have to be someone who's alive. If you've got someone who's gullible and lonely enough, and they're sitting there at that computer, they could be sexting with Alice, the maid from the Brady Bunch.
Why are you putting that picture in people's heads?
I mean, it's possible, isn't it?
Anything's possible.
How dirty do you think Gilligan would talk? Or how about the guy from Fantasy Island, who I can't describe in terms that I normally would?
Tattoo?
Yes. You think he gets real raunchy on the internet?
Maybe there's a word he says instead of plane.
It's possible.
Why did we go down this road where we still have 2 minutes to fill in this segment?
Well, because I'm sure this goes on all the time.
But wouldn't you at least have some kind of awareness that, well, I guess no. If you're not aware that the soap star is the one that's actually talking to you, maybe you think that certain actors came back from the dead.
Well, I bet you it most commonly happens with people who aren't celebrities at all. You're just talking to someone who's real attractive in a foreign country who has taken an interest in you.
That's typically how these things go. Or they're a Nigerian prince.
Oh, yeah. I'm an 11 out of 10, and I live in Ukraine, and my home is being bombed. And I'm looking for someone to marry. And I found some random person who's 500 pounds in New Jersey. And that's the person out of all the fish in the sea that I picked.
Hey, love can happen anywhere.
Did you ever watch that show? What's the one on TLC where they bring the people in from foreign countries?
90 Day Fiancé.
Yeah. There's a couple of them that live in my town, and I see them at the casino every so often.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole situation. You should see them interact with one another. Well, Randy, apparently the people in Oakland are starting to get fed up with all the crime.
They still voted for Barbara Lee.
That's true. Oakland, do better.
They're really sick of the fact that police response is so anemic when it comes to things like street takeovers. And they are voicing their concerns to KTVU, Fox 2.
Police in Oakland announcing that they did issue more than a dozen citations, all linked to multiple sideshows around the city this past weekend. New tonight, KTVU's Amber Lee live here in studio after speaking with residents who say they are still quite concerned. Amber.
That's right. My neighbors tell me they're concerned it'll happen again and that the next time the chaos will escalate and injure or kill someone. They're calling on city leaders to take action to prevent sideshows.
Again, Is that Kharkiv or is it Oakland?
It's impossible to tell from that sound.
A sideshow that brought out hundreds of people, punctuated by illegal fireworks and spectators firing their guns in the air.
Of course.
Firing their guns in the air. It's not even New Year's.
In Oakland's Piedmont Avenue district during the overnight hours of Sunday is causing fear, frustration, and the thought of flight.
Now there's some alliteration.
I wonder if this reporter is angling for a gig on ABC 7 alongside Mark Brown.
I was scared. Like I was prepping to think, am I going to run? But if I run, we're going to be right in the midst of it.
You're kind of trapped.
It's like an earthquake. Just stay in place.
Again, that sounds like a war zone.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it should be in a city in like a first world country.
Neighbors tell me their condo building shook from the explosions. They tell me they cannot erase the images of young people stomping on vehicles and setting one on fire.
Just another night in Norman Rockwell's America.
A total disregard for property and safety.
Are the wires going to catch on fire? Are they going to get the building?
Neighbors tell me it started shortly before 3 on Sunday morning and lasted for almost an hour, terrorizing people who live in the area.
Cops couldn't respond to this thing for a whole hour?
The cops are not supposed to arrest anyone out of, equity.
Residents say they didn't feel safe in their own homes.
You thought your life was in danger?
Yeah. Start doing shot fires in the air.
Neighbors say they saw...
Yeah, I would be really hard to go back to sleep when you can see people shooting guns into the air.
Because, the bullets have to land somewhere.
Neighbors say they saw young people setting bottles on fire and throwing them in the air.
Those also have to land somewhere.
Police say they issued 21 citations and towed 4 vehicles.
There were 500 cars. They towed 4 of them.
Good job.
And all the sideshows officers responded to in Oakland early Sunday morning. The department says it will work to identify additional vehicles involved, and investigators may go to the homes where they're registered and tow them.
How often has that actually happened, though? These things happen every weekend in Oakland.
If you're going to make that claim and put it on the news, I think you have to tell us how often it actually happens. They're not going to, because the answer is probably close to 0.
I mean, it wouldn't be too hard. If you actually towed one of these cars, you could have a press conference where you take it to the junkyard and you crush it into a cube and everyone applauds.
Put it on social media. Get the word out. But they don't.
But residents say police did not take action until people started setting fires.
That was the final straw. The shooting the guns in the air, that's fine. The bottle rockets, that's fine. But as soon as they lit the car on fire, okay, we better intercede.
That's the final straw? Not the gunplay?
Really scary. I've been afraid. And I still afraid. Because we don't know what's next.
The police union said there were only 16 police vehicles available to address the chaos.
Good job, Shang.
She's not even mayor anymore.
No, but she was the one that screwed up the budget while she was there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mayor Barbara Lee issued a written statement. Quote, I am very clear we have more work to do.
I still can't believe, out of all the people in Oakland, this tired 80-year-old woman with no ideas is who they chose.
And we will continue to do the work to increase public safety in all of our neighborhoods.
That said nothing.
Nope. But again, she doesn't want anyone arrested. So from her point of view, the story had a happy ending.
I was thinking, is it going to happen again? So anytime I hear the screeching of tires, it's like, is it happening again?
This woman's got trauma now.
You could tell it, hear it in her voice.
Neighbors say the crowd didn't disperse until the fire crews arrived on scene. Residents are asking city leaders to install concrete barriers and speed bumps to prevent sideshows.
That's the latest on the residents feeling hopeless in Oakland over the lack of any kind of real response to the insane lawlessness that happens at these sideshows. It's not just donuts.
Well, and it's not driving the residents crazy. So is the illegal dumping.
In fact, one Oaklander decided to videotape himself confronting some illegal dumpers. Here is KPIX in the Bay.
Also in Oakland, a business owner confronts 3 men illegally dumping trash on a busy street in broad daylight.
You guys can't illegal dump. Hell no.
Hey, at least we're finally getting some public shaming.
Yes, good for him.
I still want to find the guy that keeps dumping raw pork in South L.A.
That's got to be one restaurant.
This cell phone video is going viral on TikTok, nearing 400,000 views as of this afternoon. The illegal dumping happened on Friday afternoon near the corner of Howard Street and Alameda Avenue. This is across from the Home Depot and right in front of the High Street car wash and oil change. The business owner there, Kevin Kim, recorded the video and confronted the 3 men who tossed a pile of household trash onto the street.
Just put it on the street right there. For all to see.
Kim tells us a lot of drivers honked and shouted at the men to stop, but they ignored the passing motorists. That's when he decided to start recording video. The men eventually got back into the U-Haul truck and drove off.
They did this in a U-Haul?
They're not even trying to conceal who they are. They don't care.
This is my city. I live here. This is my business. Okay, I don't go to your house. It doesn't matter.
It's just a couple things.
It's like when someone cuts in front of you at the grocery store and you go, hey, I was standing there. And they go, well, I just have a couple of items.
Well, and the thing is, the dumpers think that this behavior is so normal, they don't understand why this guy has a problem with it.
What's your problem, dude?
This is my city. I live here. This is my business. Okay, I don't go to your house. It doesn't matter. You think it's okay to dump stuff? I don't go to your place, your house, and dump myself.
If I knew where you would, I knew where you lived, I'd do that, though.
Well, at this point, they deserve it.
You guys are making the problem even worse. Shame on you guys. If you guys live in Oakland, you guys should be ashamed of yourself.
Kim suspects the men went to a nearby street to finish the dumping of rest of the items. He sent the video to the city and filed a report with 311 to have the trash picked up. But guess what? As of Sunday, he says the pile of household items is still sitting on the street.
Once again, everything in this city works.
And they have 311. They just don't do anything with the information.
How's that 100 days of Barbara Lee working out, everyone?
Quite frankly.
Good job, Oakland. Good job. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. We have an update for you on a story we brought you earlier this week where it was rumored that California Senator Alex Padilla is considering throwing his hat in the ring for governor. Well, KCRA's Ashley Zavala saw the same rumor as us and decided, why not poke around and try to find out?
And guess who's being coy?
Alex Padilla.
Here's KCRA 3 and the wonderful Ashley Zavala.
Here at Trinity Cathedral in Midtown Sacramento, Senator Alex Padilla hosted this roundtable to try to understand how the Trump administration's policies and spending are impacting our region. This is his first appearance in Sacramento since he was infamously tackled during a Department of Homeland Security press conference in which he was trying to get answers around the Trump administration's immigration policies.
He was trying to make a little stunt for himself.
Oh, yeah. He was trying to go viral so he could generate attention for himself, so he had a reason to run for governor.
What if, and again, I have no idea how this happened, but what if Alex Padilla a few months ago started thinking about, hey, if Kamala doesn't run, this field is wide open. And so he calls a consultant and says, hey, what do you think about me for governor? And the consultant says, the problem is nobody knows who you are. Nobody can recognize you on the street. You're relatively anonymous, even though you're a United States senator. And he thinks, well, I know a way to get my face all over the TV.
Oh, I think that's exactly what happened.
Back here at this roundtable, he was trying to understand how those policies, as well as the Trump administration spending, is impacting food assistance and healthcare-related programs, just to name a few. Now, this comes as Senator Padilla is also part of the big promotion of redistricting here in California, an attempt again to fight back against President Donald Trump, and an attempt to gerrymander in Texas, where Republicans there are trying to remove Democrats from their representation in the U.S. House of Representatives. Meanwhile, this all comes as California's governor's race in 2026 is still wide open. So I pretty much flat out asked the senator, is he running for governor?
How do you feel if you're Antonio Villaraigosa and all you hear is this race is wide open?
Well, and Javier Baccaria, too, because the framing of the race is those two don't exist.
I listened to Baccaria's 20-minute interview at that Politico summit. Someone told him, stop saying scrub it.
Well, when he went on with Alex Michelson, that's all he said.
Look, I know there's a governor's race next year, but I'll tell you what's happening this year. This November, a very important, consequential, special election. We have to approve Proposition 50, have these new maps in place for the next couple of cycles, because the stakes are too high. You know,
and we promise we'll give them back.
Oh, yeah. Just like whenever a tax is supposed to expire, we always give that money away.
It's not just about redistricting. Let me really paint the picture for what this redistricting fight is all about. Donald Trump and his allies in Congress, Republicans in Congress, are trying to gut access to health care. They're eliminating nutrition assistance programs. So many more cuts across the federal programs to underwrite tax breaks for billionaires. It's harmful and it's unpopular. Under normal times, a party in power...
Did you say normal?
Something along those lines.
Under normal times, a party in power would say, we're proud of...
Like the gray cat in Garfield?
Under normal times, a party in power would say, we're proud of our record, please re-elect us so we can do more. They're running from their agenda. They know how harmful and unpopular it is. So I
love the fact that the guy who regards himself as a Gavin Newsom ally is saying they're the ones that are running away from their record. Are you kidding me? Open your eyes.
Their only hope of staying in power to make it harder for people to register to vote or to actually cast their ballot. Trump has ordered the Department of Justice now to work with states to try to sweep voter information. They want to purge voter rolls. And in addition to that, they want to rig the district lines. That's the only way they have a chance of staying in power next November, and we're not going to let them do it.
That doesn't sound like a no on the governor's race, though.
I love the fact that she brought it right back to the question that she asked and he didn't answer.
I'll tell you right now, there is no reporter in California with bigger balls than Ashley Zavala.
You know what I feel about her? It's like when Bill Malugin was at Fox 11 and he was just turning out gold every single day. And you knew that he was on borrowed time at Fox 11, that he would get plucked by one of the networks and he would be off to the races. You can see the same thing with her.
We need her. Outside of her, there is very little coverage of what actually goes on in Sacramento.
That doesn't sound like a no on the governor's race, though. Is it something you're not ruling out yet?
Look, I'm focused on this November.
As soon as they say I'm focused, that means they don't want to answer your damn question.
Yep, and it means you can ask 15 different ways. They're still not going to give you an answer.
I'm focused on this November.
Padilla heads back to Washington, D.C. next week when the Senate reconvenes after a summer recess. Reporting in Sacramento.
How many weeks do they get off?
A lot.
Reporting in Sacramento, Ashley Zavala, KCRA 3 News.
So there's the latest on Alex Padilla. Not really saying if he's running for governor or not, but he's not denying it.
And I'm sure they're doing some polling right now, and I'd be curious to find out what the polling actually says. Because even though Alex Padilla is someone who is well known among politicos, he is not well known among the general public. He's relatively new. He was appointed by Gavin Newsom, And up until the stunt where he got thrown out of the press conference, he never really made news. You always see something about Adam Schiff, usually negative. You always see something about Gavin Newsom, usually negative. But you don't see much in the press about Alex Padilla. And I would assume that outside of pockets of Los Angeles, particularly those pockets that he used to represent in the state legislature and on the city council.
No, they don't know who he is either.
He's anonymous.
I think at this point, because people's minds are so fickle and they forget things, I guarantee more people today know who Imelda Padilla is than Alex Padilla.
It's possible. All right, that's going to do it for us today, but we'll be back tomorrow at noon for another local edition, or live edition, I guess I should say, and local for San Francisco and L.A., of The John Phillips Show.